House of Danger is the sort of book that requires a weird shit alert. It sounds serious, but the cover is bewildering to say the least. A pissed fella from the Civil War, a couple of snarling, disagreeable chimps, a dead body with chimps approaching ready to perform who knows what on the poor soul in front of a weird-looking futuristic house. Or at least what people in the 80s thought the future would be like. And then there's an old-timey fire engine? Who knows what the hell this book is? It's R.A. Montgomery though, so there might be 42 different plot lines, each more weird than the last. One notable mention is that this book has Ricardo and Lisa, two characters that would return for the horror of High Ridge. This book begins with you as an aspiring psychic investigator, and you receive a mysterious phone call of a man pleading for help who quickly hangs up. Your phone tracing device magically operates in milliseconds, and not only gives you the caller ID and the phone number of the person, but also the address. Ah, the future. Also, what is this book on the shelf in your lab? It looks like it says come. What the hell sort of investigating do you do? Or just one of those ridiculous attempts at hiding porn by mixing it in with regular books thinking your mom won't find it? Do the only sensible thing and bury it behind a tree in the woods and dig it up now and then for a good time.
Wank behind the tree like a chimp.
So the book mainly breaks into two paths here. You can investigate the mysterious call alone, or you can enlist Ricardo and Lisa. There's no option to enlist Beach Muswell, much to my dismay. The choice isn't really set in stone though, because investigating alone does eventually lead you to an option to get with your two friends later anyway. Investigate with them, not like actually get with them. Save those thoughts for the mystery book on the shelf. When you travel to this address and peer through your binoculars at it, you find the strange looking house on the cover. Also, you look like a horny perved out teen doing some white knuckle stick shifting in the bushes. I guess you did hide some magazines here. Go Ralph Reese. You also learn it is the site of a prison that burned down in the 1800s. And while you gaze upon this bizarre abode oozing with a rusty venture style, a man in his suit runs out and collapses on the walkway, followed by pissed off chimpanzees. You know, just another Tuesday. Suit and tie guy has a piece of paper in his hand, and when you run over to him, he dies like a damn jerk.
I mean, this guy was a real jerk.
There'll be no answers here. The chimps attack with blow darts. These fuckers are really getting down to brass tacks. You can call the cops and report this godforsaken monkey murder and then wait for them to arrive. You can also call Ricardo and Lisa after that. Like the merry-going chums they are, they show up, always ready for a good murder. Ricardo goes to get food, and you eat said food and are drugged apparently. Exactly how the food Ricardo brought from a fast food place was laced with drugs is never actually explained. It just is. Montgomeryism at its finest. You wake up at night, tied up in a stone room with only an old man shackled nearby, and you discover he's the guy from the caller ID, Henry Marsden. He says he's a recluse living next to the ruins of a prison his dad built. A gang of counterfeiters found out about him being a recluse and took over his house for their operation. You know, like counterfeiters do. Goddamn counterfeiters. You go to leave and discover the old man is suddenly very strong for some weird reason, but oddly you don't question this. He then turns into your dad, who happens to look like a late 70s, early 80s game show host. And you wake up to your dad trying to wake you up. He says you fell asleep and the police arrived and raided the house and arrested a counterfeiting gang. Way to go alerting the police, champ. I guess. The end. You, Ricardo, and Lisa go investigate the house instead of waiting for the cops. You hear a scream and are then surrounded by those damn bloodthirsty man-eater chimps. The foul beast back you into the basement door, so rather than cower outside and wait to be ripped to shreds and turned into future chimpanzee poop, you all three go inside the house and find yourselves in an office with a folder on the desk that reads, Top Secret Invasion Plans, Earth. Western Hemisphere, Phase Alpha. Because these sorts of things are always carelessly left laying around on desks. As you look through the plans, an alien casually strolls into the room and says,
Hey, go on and look at that shit. Too late for you to do anything about it, so it doesn't matter, bitches.
Sort of a saucy, angry look. You can join up with him if you want, though. Fuck team people. If you do, he promises job security and a pension. Hot damn, what a reasonable villain. Or let's say you never decided to wait for the police in the first place. Then this might happen. You go to explore the house and get caught by a man with a scar in an old-fashioned prison uniform holding a laser pistol. Montgomery writes that not even your karate training can help you here. Oh, great. The one thing you always knew would happen. An old dude with a laser gun, and that just had to be the day you skipped karate class. You get marched into a room with professional-looking people that appear to be taking part in some sort of board meeting. White-haired man in a pinstripe suit begins to explain everything. They are the International Planning Group, made up of representatives from all around the world. Like some sort of Bilderberg thing, except for the peaceful development of natural resources and energy conservation. They say they really need young minds like yours to steer them in the right direction, and that if you have friends that you can recommend, they can join as well, because hey, that sounds legit. This secret global group hides out in various places around the world with guards packing laser pistols dressed up in old-timey prison gear along with guard chimps, and they really want kids to join the organization. What the fuck am I reading? If you decide to never call the police...
Hand it takes a call, third strike there.
Then this might happen. You hold up the paper the dying man had in his hand. It has little flecks of color in it, and you recognize that it's the same type of paper that money is printed on. You then wonder if that man was Henry Marsden and if he was a counterfeiter, or maybe trying to escape from a counterfeiter. And then you wonder if there might be a counterfeiting animal trainer because of the chimps, and because R.A. Montgomery wrote it, so that totally sounds like a plausible scenario. But then you think the counterfeiting animal trainer idea makes about as much sense as a yodeling astronaut, which really should have been another Montgomery book. You head home to see if Ricardo and Lisa have called. No dice on that shit. You grab some equipment and head back to the house of danger. You see that the dead guy has now disappeared. A limo arrives and some guys in black get out. The chimps come over to him, but the guys don't even care, and the chimps just disappear. Hologram guard chimps. The guys leave with small packages, actual boxes. You're not looking at their genitals, that's an entirely different book. You realize this is the perfect place for a base of operations for a gang of counterfeiters, because this is the kind of sane conclusion any kid quickly arrives at in a situation like this. If you decide not to approach the house when you first saw the dying guy and the chimps, then you run back to your car, and when you get in, someone presses a gun to the back of your neck. It says,
"Just do what I tell you. You'll be looking for a new head. Now get this, yeah? Keep moving and follow directions. Drive down to the corner and turn right, see?
If you try to use your knockout gas on the guy, you discover he's actually a talking chimpanzee that was holding a ring into your neck and not a gun. Tricky, rotten bastard. You knock him out and go to the police. He winds up in a zoo, totally pissed off about having to hang out with other chimps too dumb to talk to him. Or if you decide not to use the knockout gas, he commands you to drive into a huge tunnel where chimps are loading boxes onto huge trucks shaped like eggs. And it's at this point that you discover your captor is a talking chimp. He uses an access card to enter the facility and leaves you in a cell with a man in shackles. He tells you that the chimps and his associate Jethro made a break for it, but he himself was caught and locked up while Jethro made it out. Obviously that dead guy you found outside. He said while he was running from the chimps, he dialed a random number to plead for help, as you do, and called you. He explains that he is a professor who was trying to create superhumans from the chimps, but created super chimps instead. He informs you that he has a super energizing chamber. What the fuck is that? It will give anyone advanced mental powers. He mentions a tunnel that had been dug a long time ago that leads to his lab, so you both get to it. You startle a guard chimp and hit him with knockout gas. The professor tells you to get in the energizing chamber. You ask if it's safe, and he says,
"Relatively."
Well, what the fuck, dude? That's not reassuring. So you can either go in or not. If you do, you are now at an advantage over the chimp since you started out as a human. You can freak them out and catch the boxes that they throw at you in midair and throw them back. Hey, at least it's boxes and not what they're normally known for throwing.
You welcome, bitch!
Or you can get all super energized but then run away so you have time to talk to the professor about what these powers actually are. He mentions he set the machine to self-destruct in a few seconds. The chimps begin working together to make a mental force field to crush the minds of you and the professor. The professor tells you to imagine a spinning disc in your brain and use it to generate electricity, and then aim it at the force field that the chimps are putting around you. You are able to break the force field, but you still feel some energy in the house. And at this point, you can do a mind search. You leave your body and your mind floats around the home, searching for who fucking knows what. You find a lead structure and realize the energy is coming from this. Whatever you do, don't lick it. Lead poisoning is a bitch. Regardless, you can't get in the thing, so you decide to put a force field around it, and something inside lets out a wave of anguish. The walls fall away, and you find a strange Rubik's Cube, which is actually some kind of an alien, and it explains its situation to you. It says that the chimps use their damn mind power to contact the alien planet and ask for help. The alien sent an emissary, and the chimps imprisoned the alien and demanded that they be taught how to build flying machines. The alien is grateful for your rescue and asks that you go to the alien world where you will be hailed as a hero. This might be the weirdest fucking book Montgomery has ever written. Or you can go the B story route and wait for Ricardo and Lisa after the mysterious call. You wonder about the name on the caller ID, Henry Marsden, and remember a book that you just picked up at a yard sale for 25 cents about local history. You find out that Marsden was a Civil War soldier from the Union Army and was appointed the warden of a prison that was infamous for cruel treatment of prisoners. A prison riot caused the building to be burned down, and legend is that the prisoners killed Marsden and that he haunts the grounds to this day. His remains were never found. Look how smug you are with all the knowledge.
A real jerk.
You can go to the police or just go explore the house. If you go to the police, they tell you that they think the house is haunted. Totally professional. The cop claims that the facts speak for themselves, and then he says he'd be willing to hand the case of that house o' danger over to you three kids. The police just handing over an open case to kids. He instructs you to keep a watch on the place during the day and to keep your distance. Of course you don't, because who'd want to read that shit? The door's open, so you just waltz in and tell Ricardo and Lisa you'll contact them over the walkie-talkie when it's safe for them to come inside. The door slams shut and locks. There are no windows, but there's a strange light, and the air is getting hotter, and the walkie-talkie doesn't work. What the shit just just happened? You can try to get the front door open again, but when you do, it doesn't go outside anymore. It leads down to a stone stairwell that goes to some prison cells. You are somehow compelled to go to them. A ghost tells you he is Henry Marsden and that he needs your help. He explains his soul is trapped here forever until someone forgives him so his soul can be set free. He really just needs you to forgive him. Won't you please forgive him? When you protest because you know how bad of a warden he was, he pleads that it wasn't his fault. It was, funding problems and whatnot. He also says he did set the fire, but he figured the prisoners would all just escape. He didn't mean to burn them all to death. Well, how believable. That's pretty sound logic there, People in cells will be just fine if I set this fire, no worries. And you forgive him. Okay. He vanishes and you run back up the stairs. The door now goes outside where you run into your friends, and the police scold you for going inside the house. You tell them there's nothing to worry about with this place anymore. No more weird lights coming from here. Nope, none at all. Everything's good. This ending contains the most half-assed artwork in the book. Reese's illustrations are great throughout, but here he was like, fuck it, I don't care anymore. I've got other shit to do. I'll just scribble a few lines and collect my paycheck on this one. Or if you had decided not to bother trying to get the front door back open and just explore the house instead, you run into the ghost of Henry Marsden, who trots out his magical movie projector and screen that he's been given by the spirits. Apparently they're always handing out electronics. They're just cool like that. To atone for his sins, he has to play videos for people apparently, and he shows you a picture of you, as you are now, as a baby who appears to have just realized he filled his diaper, and as an old man, and you are told to choose to either relive childhood or experience old age now. You broke into this creepy place and you're now getting Christmas caroled. You also get the option to experience being another person, which can lead to accidentally becoming Genghis Khan eating turkey. If you and Ricardo and Lisa decide not to go to the police and instead just go to the house yourselves, then you arrive, make your way to the front and knock on the door. There's no answer, so you just go inside like a disrespectful jerk.
This guy was a real jerk.
And a tall, slender woman walks out of a wall over to you. You ask about Marsden, but she beckons with a finger and wanders away. And apparently none of this is a red flag. You follow her to a solarium where she shows you her Venus flytrap. Stay with me, it's a kid's book. The plant eats a fly and the woman turns into Marsden. He's a Civil War era prison guard with a whip and you're all now in a stone prison. Okay. You get whipped to death by this fucking guy. What just happened here? Or when you walk in the front door, you can tell the woman no thanks and haul ass back to the car. She screams that you'll be sorry, and your car is gone. You notice the house is now missing, and in its place is a prison. So you've time traveled. Choose your own adventure 101. You see the prison in flames. The riot is taking place, and up high you see Marsden yelling the same thing he said to you over the phone when you received his call earlier. Also, he looks like Santa Claus on fire, so that's pretty awesome. The firemen arrive in their old-timey fire truck cart thing, and you can help them, which will end with you back in your own time and all three of you curious about why you each had the same dream and wondering why there's a Civil War hat on the ground nearby. Or you can watch the firemen do their job, in which case you all three wind up stuck in the 1800s, living out the rest of your lives there with no laser pistols, talking chimps, or fancy caller ID systems. Some other endings. Henry Marsden's head turning into a spaceship and you going inside to fly to other galaxies, apparently against your will. Okay. Choosing to experience what old age is like and falling over dead in a wheelchair. Yep, that's probably what it feels like. Working for aliens who are invading Earth and wondering if you made the right choice, you traitorous bastard. Becoming meat for an alien food supply.
I am certain that when the Homo sapien taste takes the galaxy by storm as it will, Crumb's crunchy delights will be back at the top. Macchiabalo's flying moonrat won't know what hit them.
Using your newfound mind powers to break yourself and the professor out of the cell the talking chimps locked you in, with them being hit with a power even greater than your own. Apparently the chimps have unleashed an evil force stronger than anything ever. A force powerful beyond human understanding. Oh, maybe that's the evil Power Master. You fight back, but the power destroys space and time itself, and you and the professor fade into another dimension.
Holy shit.
Turning down an offer to visit an alien world and being given a pendant called a hyperspace communicator that you can activate with your mind and a spaceship will come to get you. Sweet, an interstellar brain Uber. The asshole chimps are in a prison somewhere and the house disappears. You and the professor are standing on an empty lawn where the house used to be. Good times. You and the professor going to an alien world and learning all about their technology before returning home. Shot to death by laser gun wielding chimpanzees. Disrupting a counterfeiting operation run by the chimpanzees where they had created egg-shaped flying ships and had been recreating all the different types of money used around the world and had planned to fly around dropping it all over the planet to destabilize the global economy. The professor calls this the ultimate guerrilla warfare. This is the craziest fucking ending in the book. Let this sink in. Montgomery wrote a story about a mysterious phone call that leads you to a weird house where you find a professor who explains that talking chimpanzees have created flying eggs and are counterfeiting world currencies and plan to drop this fake money from said flying eggs to destabilize the global economy. My life can never be the same after having read this. One of Montgomery's weirder books, so it certainly ranks high with me. A full-bore nonsensical freakout. The artwork by Ralph Reese is great as well. One of the good artists in this series, I think. This book is balls out insane. I can't help but dig it. Until next time, just say no to laser gun wielding, talking, counterfeiting chimpanzees.
Nothing makes sense. And if it does make sense,